decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. The cross before me, the world behind me. The cross before me, the world behind me. The cross before me, the world behind me. No turning back, no turning back. My dear friends, we are all followers of Jesus. And not just today, throughout the centuries, people have been following Jesus. And as we are followers, Blessed Carlo Acutis also decided to follow Jesus. And today, as we are here to venerate his relics, we have just seen in nutshell his life, a short life, but a life lived beautifully. It is something beautiful to God and for all his people. And today, especially, we are all journeying in this year of hope, as our late Pope Francis gave us a beautiful theme, Pilgrims of Hope. I would like to share my reflection on how Blessed Carlo Acutis is a pilgrim of hope in this digital age. When we look at the life of Carlo Acutis, we can clearly see that his lifespan from 1991 to 2006 was just of 15 years. And our Bible also reminds us that our life is short. Life is like a shadow. Life is like a vapor. In no time, it disappears. So few years, God has blessed us. And this years, when we live, we are called to do something beautiful to God and his people. But when you reflect on the life of Blessed Carlo Acutis, we can see in his own words, very many times he repeated, my life plan is to be close with Jesus. Being close with Jesus is nothing else but following him more closely, imitating him in whatever that we do in our life. My dear friends, if we look at the life of Carlo Acutis, we can plan out what was the life plan of Carlo Acutis. I would like to sum up in 3 points. First and foremost, Carlo Acutis had a great and deep devotion to the Holy Eucharist, as we just saw in the clip also. Eucharist is my highway to heaven, and the more we receive the Eucharist, we become more like Christ. And there are testimonies that bear witness to the life of Carlo Acutis that he loved being in the presence of the Eucharist. He would lovingly, a personal choice to be with the Lord. My dear friends, there's a big difference when someone forces us to go and sit before the Blessed Sacrament. Carlo Acutis made a personal choice. He loved to spend time before the Holy Eucharist. And as a result of this, we see his mother, who is still alive, bears testimony to this. They were not practicing Catholics. They were baptized, yes, but they were Christians for name's sake. But Carlo Acutis will pull their parents, relatives, their friends to come to the church for Mass. When we look in our own families also, we are reminded. Our parents force us to go to Mass. Sometimes we ignore, we don't want to go. But our parents, but in the case of Blessed Carlo Acutis, he would drag them to the church in order to experience this love and mercy of God. Secondly, when we look at the life of Carlo Acutis, he is a man of hope in moments of suffering. We know that at a very young age, he was detected with leukemia. He saw this illness that came in his life with hope because he always reminded himself the words of Jesus. If you want to be my follower, take up your cross and follow me. For Carlo Acutis, suffering was like a grace. When we suffer, we also, in a way, partake in the suffering of the Lord. My dear friends, sufferings also remind us that God does not leave us alone. And this was the hope of Carlo Acutis. When he was detected with leukemia, he hoped that the Lord is walking with him. We know we are all walking as pilgrims of faith. And in this year of hope, pilgrims of hope, the Lord does not leave us alone. We know after the Easter, the disciples on the way to Emmaus, when they were walking, Jesus also was walking with them. And this is the hope for us, that Jesus always walks with us. In moments of joy, in moments of sadness, He is walking with us. And thirdly, my dear friends, we know and we have seen just the beautiful exhibition of the Eucharistic miracles. Carlo Acutis is known for this website, for he documented most of the Eucharistic miracles that took place in the world. And not just documented, he made an effort also to visit these places. And two of the places where Carlo Acutis visited one was in Lanciano, the famous Eucharistic miracle. There was a priest who was a Basilian monk who was following the rule of Saint Basil the Great. He had some doubts that is Jesus really present in this bread and wine? And one day as he was celebrating the Mass, the bread and wine turned into the body and blood of Christ. And it is today still preserved and looks so fresh. I had the opportunity to visit this place. It is still fresh as if it is the bread and its body and blood of Jesus. The second place where Carlo Acutis, he himself visited, was in Italy, Orvieto. Again here, the priest was doubting in the real presence of the Eucharist. And as he was celebrating, when he was saying the words of consecration, the host starts bleeding. My dear friends, Carlo Acutis is also reminding us today to strengthen this faith and this hope in the real presence of the Lord. Very many times, we have so many occasions to come and spend our time before the Eucharistic Lord. And Carlo Acutis strongly recommends us or invites us or is a role model for us, not by force, but by our loving devotion that we need to walk towards the Blessed Sacrament. As we all know his life, he was about to be canonized, but surely he will be canonized as a saint. But he invites us today, as our Bishop Emeritus also reminded, he had so much love for Saint Francis of Assisi. And one of his desire was that he be buried in Assisi. My dear friends, the place where his body is preserved till this date is a place connected with Saint Francis of Assisi. If you know the life of Saint Francis of Assisi, when he got God's call, he renounced everything. In front of the bishop, the people of Assisi, he went in the center, removed his clothes, which his father had given, and gave it back in a way to symbolize, I now belong to God. And this is the place where the body of Carlo Acutis is preserved. And thousands of people make their pilgrimage to this very place. And so many miracles, even till this day. 2 years ago, I was privileged to visit not just once, 6 times I visited at this tomb, and so many people giving testimonies, bearing witnesses. And one such miracle that has been attributed to Carlo Acutis and which made a way to canonize him as a saint was of a girl from Costa Rica. Her name was Valeria Valverde. This girl was studying in Florence, Italy. And as she was going to her school, she meets with an accident. And the doctors gave very few chances of her survival. And when she was in coma, her mother, with this devotion to Carlo Acutis, the very same night made a pilgrimage to the tomb of Carlo Acutis and made a note over there to pray through the intercession of Carlo Acutis, may my daughter be healed. And on her visit back from Assisi to Florence, her daughter showed signs of improvement. And this was the moment where the Vatican approved the miracle really took place due to the intercession of Blessed Carlo Acutis. In the following months, in August 2022, this girl, along with her mother, makes the second pilgrimage to the tomb of Carlo Acutis. This was the miracle that made a way for making Carlo Acutis in the process of canonization. Last but not the least, having reflected on this aspect of hope in the person of Blessed Carlo Acutis, today he is giving an invitation for us to be a model for each other, to be a model so that we can pull each other to the church where we can experience the love and mercy of God. So my dear friends, let us make this opportunity which Blessed Carlo Acutis gives us today to come more closer, not with force, but lovingly to spend time in his love, in his service. Thank you.